Addo. The first collation to be completed for the day was Afantia College. When we got that done, we came to Akwitia, which we also successfully completed, and it was declared. Then it was left with Nsawam, Addo, and Suhum. Both were being done. Now, for Suhum, there was another go-slow. The NDC at every stage tried to disrupt. Eventually, they rejected six polling stations results, and we accepted that if they've rejected, they don't want it to be bad. That is fine, because it was still giving us a win of 1,500. Then they tried to use the independent candidate agent to frustrate the process. In fact, eventually, the NDC leaders who came there, led by the famous Wayomi, told me and Honorable Bawumiah that they want to negotiate for us to allow the declaration of Suhum, and that their foot soldiers were amassing outside, and that if all 4 constituencies are declared for us, they will kill them. Very sad. Eventually, when we said no, we have to continue with the process, and we completed the Suhum process where Suhum was declared, they tried another go-slow on Nsawam Addo. Each one of them that came said, "Oh, you said, I'm not on pray winning, I am farmer." Where does this happen? Eventually, when the EC official decided to continue the process, the NDC, led by Wayomi, came into the collation center and said that, okay, their computer was not working, so we should give them 2 hours to charge their battery. As at 1 a.m., when they had gotten 3 hours to charge the so-called battery of the laptop, they said they were tired. Meanwhile, their candidate walked in. The candidate for Nsawam Addo walked in. And we said, okay, if you are tired, the candidate himself was there. Meanwhile, Honorable Addo had been there the whole day. What next? The EC official, after another 1 hour of unnecessary disruption, he said he was tired, he was feeling sleepy, and that we should do it at 6 a.m. the following day, Friday. We all slept there. Well, by the way, I left around 4 a.m. to shower, and I came back around 7 o'clock. Around this time, the General Secretary was also there, but the candidate, Honorable Addo, and his agent slept there. At 6:30 thereabout, collation resumed. Around 8 o'clock, they started the agenda again. We will not allow. Then around 8:30, their counsel came in, Honorable Mr. Addo, claiming that he had in his possession an injunction order from the court, only to find out later that they will use a delay tactics to file an application. They had filed a writ in court, that is the candidate for NDC had filed a writ in court with an injunction application, which they were seeking to serve the Honorable Addo and EC. So clearly, these are not Democrats. Whereas Dr. Bawumiah conceded defeat even before EC's official announcement. They were not ready to accept defeat in these constituencies that day. They were not ready to concede defeat where they knew clearly, because their posture was that they won't allow the process to continue. And then, in fact, on Friday itself, after they have successfully gotten the Addo constituency collation disrupted, then they came to the others. The police had arranged collation tables for the other constituencies. In fact, the Jiman South has started. They were collating. Ahafano Southwest, we had their table. We had Obuasi East. And all the Ashanti region seats were supposed to be collated. And then the following day, Saturday, was for Greater Accra. They deliberately disrupted and then used social media to threaten the police, whereupon the police felt that they could not provide security. in spite of EC's insistence to continue the work. In fact, on Friday afternoon, it was the police that actually instructed the EC to stop the collation process. I repeat, on Friday afternoon, it was the police that instructed EC to stop the process of collating the results because it was not sure of its ability to provide security. And you recall that was when the deputy communication officer, I don't want to mispronounce his name, had issued threat, had commanded 5,000 people to meet at the police training school. It's all on social media. So our appeal to the international community, civil society organizations, the media, and all lovers of democracy is to show interest in these outstanding constituencies and give the EC every moral support to proceed to make these declarations. Again, we are encouraging the Electoral Commission that pursuant to their own statement they issued and their press conference on the evening of Friday to proceed to collect and declare these results. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I continue. He starts threatening to beat the returning officer and kill him if he fails to declare their candidate as the winner. Fearing for his life, Mr. Vincent Obeng, the returning officer, gave in to their demands, except that because he had not finished with the collation, he could not and did not mention any figure or percentages obtained by the candidate. Can we see the video? There's a glitch. Okay, let me continue. We'll show you the video. The returning officer, in response to this is the video. The returning officer being attacked and risk to declare. Is there any voice? Thank you. The returning officer, in response to what the NDC hoodlums had ordered him to do amid the threat of his life, only said, "I declare you as a winner." without even mentioning the name of the candidate nor the number of votes obtained by any of the candidates as required by law. Equally, the parliamentary results collation sheet Form 1C and parliamentary results summary sheet Form 1D could not be filled as required by Regulation 43(1)B of CI 127. Additionally, a returning officer could not issue out the rate for 1B as required by Regulation 43(1)G. I pose this question, that if your hand is raised, that you have won an election, and you go to the house, what are you going to show to your wife or your husband that you have won an election? There must be a documentary proof. So if your hand is only raised that you have won an election, and you go home, what are you going to tell your wife or your husband? Or what are you going to show him or her that you have won an election? The processes are documented in Regulation 43 of the CI. So if it's incomplete, it's incomplete. So that's for Madame Leclerc and Abdulrahman Law. 2, we move on to Tema Central constituency. Data on the face of the pinches from all the 148 polling stations in Tema Central shows clearly that the NPP parliamentary candidate, Charles Forster, won the parliamentary elections for the constituency with 55 votes difference. He obtained 18,870 votes to beat the NDC's candidate, Eddie Bright, who polled 18,815. When the NDC realized that they had lost, they sent their party thugs to disrupt the coalition exercise. These thugs overpowered the security and ran amok at the coalition center, injuring innocent people in the process. This compelled the Tema Metro EC Director, Mr. Ofosuhene A. Manasseh, to call for a suspension of the coalition in view of the prevailing chaos and other security concerns. Coalition resumed on Monday, 9th December, at the Tema Regional Police Command, which was again disrupted by the NDC thugs, who stormed the coalition center in their hundreds and overpowered the police. The thugs took charge of the coalition process and ordered the EC to declare their parliamentary candidate, Eddie Bright, as the winner of the elections, when it was left with 2 pink sheets to complete the coalition process. The NDC knew very well that when the results of the 2 remaining polling stations are added to what had been collated for the candidates, the Npp parliamentary candidate, Charles Forsey, would beat their candidate by 55 votes. The polling station codes of the 2 outstanding stations and votes obtained by the 2 candidates are code C231309B, Npp 170 votes, NDC 103 votes. The second polling station outstanding is C231707, and here Npp got 279 votes and NDC 173. When the returning officer for the constituency resisted their attempt to compel him to declare the NDC candidate as the winner of the election, the NDC brought in a staff of the Electoral Commission from a different constituency, Tema West, to do the declaration for the Tema Central constituency without the inclusion of the 2 remaining pink sheets. Here too, the Form 1B, 1C, and 1D were all not filled by the officer as required by the law. They used an A4 sheet to fill the statutory form. Show them. You have the video of the A4 sheet. All right. So that is what happened at Tema Central. We now move on to Okaikwe Central constituency. The NPP candidate and incumbent MP for Okaikwe Central constituency, Honorable Patrick Bawumiah, won the parliamentary elections with a vote margin of 1,446 votes. The NPP candidate, Honorable Patrick Bawumiah, obtained 20,229 votes as against NDC's Baba Sadiq, who polled 18,783 votes, with only 3 polling stations remaining. The records show that even when all the votes in the 3 polling stations are added to the NDC's candidate, it will not offset the vote difference. This is important. Even when all the 3 outstanding polling stations are added on to the NDC candidate, it would not offset the vote difference. At this moment, the coalition process was disrupted by the NDC thugs, who stormed the coalition center and sought to destroy critical electoral materials, including pink sheets, essential for verifying the results. They took control of the coalition process and threatened the EC's officials to declare their candidate as winner, resulting in chaotic scenes which led to suspension of the constituency coalition. The parties were invited to the EC Regional Coalition Center on Monday, 9 December 2024, to complete the coalition process. The NDC insisted that they would not accept the continuation of the coalition and demanded that the EC should declare their candidate as winner of the parliamentary election. At the visible duress, the returning officer excluded the results from 31 polling stations and declared the results based on only 110 polling stations. This action is inconsistent with the electoral laws as it excludes legitimate votes cast by constituents and fails to reflect the true outcome of the elections in Okaigwe Central. The NDC's disagreement was based on alleged issue with certain polling stations. The attack stormed the Electoral EC Collation Center and coerced the returning officer to declare. And here too, we have video footage to corroborate these incidents of vandalism and physical abuse of the electoral staff. I don't think you can show the footage.
This one is tablet.
All right, so let's go to the fourth one, Npp Ec constituency. We will share these videos with you. During the collation at Npp Ec constituency collation center, the NDC hoodlums attacked the collation center, destroyed electoral materials on site, bent ballot boxes, thereby truncating the collation process. The returning officer informed parties to leave the collation center on account of the security challenges, which made it impossible to continue with the collation. The returning officer assured the candidates and their agents that she would communicate a new venue for the continuation of the collation. We are however hearing that there was a purported declaration of results under duress, and that too in her absence, contrary to requirements of Regulation 43 of CI 127. Equally, the parliamentary results collation sheet Form 1C and parliamentary results summary sheet Form 1D was not filled as required by Regulation 43 1B 1 and B of CI 127, and the rate of declaration for 1B was also not issued as required by Regulation 43 1 and G. The Npp candidate or his agent has still not been informed of the new venue for the continuation of the collation, contrary to the assurances given by the returning officer during the raid by the NDC tax. Well, we can report that based on our own collation, the Npp parliamentary candidate, Ambassador Michael Koye Jr., won the parliamentary elections in Npp Ec and are confident that when EC resumes collation, our position will be vindicated. 5. Ahafano North constituency in Ashanti region. The Npp parliamentary candidate, Honorable Eric Nana Ajimai Pepe, won the parliamentary elections with a margin of 121 votes as per data collated from all the 140 polling stations by the party. The NPP's candidate, Nana Ajimai Pepe, has hard copies of all the 140 pin sheets that put him at 20,353 votes as against NDC's candidate at 20,232. I believe we all have witnessed what we call MP3 in Tema East, so Damba. So if somebody wins with a difference of 120, he has won. After all, the law says first past the post. During the collation by the EC at the Constituency Collation Center, NDC tax stormed the collation center at Tepa SHS and began destroying and burning electoral materials, particularly pink sheets, computers, and ballot papers, as well as properties of the Tepa SHS, including louver blades, benches, and tables. They also manhandled NPP representatives and EC officials. These violent conduct by the NDC tax, who had overpowered the police, prompted the intervention of the military to save lives and property. The NDC hoodlums did not only attack the collation center, but they also proceeded to launch an attack at the residence of the NPP parliamentary candidate, Honorable Eric Nana Ajimai Pepe, bent his vehicle and attacked his warehouse, stole his items, and attacked his radio station. There are video footages in wide circulations that captured all these attacks. These issues have since been reported to the Ghana police and an arrest warrant has been issued. The videos are there and we will give you copies of it. The question many will ask is, since when has it become an offense to contest a parliamentary elections in this country? Why is the NDC bent on thwarting all our democratic gains? Ghana has made a lot of gains. Instead of consolidating it, they are thwarting it. They are throwing it away. Let's go to the sixth one, Obuasi East. That's also in Ashanti. After collecting the polling station results from all the 115 polling stations, the NPP parliamentary candidate obtained 18,558 votes as against NDC's 18,539. Strangely, the returning officer, the police, and the NPP candidate, at the threat of their life, succumbed to the unlawful demands of the NDC hoodlums, who had besieged the collation center and took charge of the constituency collation process to swap the election results. And we have that. Is that ready to show them? They swapped the results that I have mentioned and then announced that. Okay, they gave them NPP's candidates to that of the ladies, of Wasi's.
They just cancelled.
They cancelled the first one, which we have the data and reverse after. I mean, what is it? They swapped the results in favor of the NDC.
They don't make candidate and ask him to sign because he died. He prefers dying or going to parliament. So he should sign.
Number 7, I have Ahafo Southwest, also in Ashanti. Results from all the 103 polling stations indicate that the MPP's candidate, Elvis Osei Sadapa, obtained 16,058 votes, as against NDC's candidate, who polled 15,372 votes. As usual, the NDC hoodlums attacked the collation center and in the process killed one of our supporters. We have all our pinches intact, and that shows clearly that the MPP parliamentary candidate won the parliamentary elections by 686 votes margin. 686 votes margin. The EC invited the parties to its regional collation center on Monday, 9 December 2024 at 10 a.m. The EC collected all the results from all the 103 polling stations, filled the Form 1C as well as the Form 1D, but due to threat of his life, he opted not to declare the final result. So this is the situation at Ahafo Southwest. Now we go to Bono East, number 8, Techima South constituency. Collation from 279 out of a total of 282 polling stations indicate clearly that Honorable Martin Kwaku Ajayi Mensah Kosa, the MPP parliamentary candidate, obtained 46,468 votes as against NDC's Christopher Bayari, who polled for the 3,365 votes. Two other candidates in the parliamentary elections obtained 225 votes. The constituency collation was disrupted by NDC and has since not resumed. The next one is Eastern Region and Southern Adwaji. Data from all the 202 polling stations show that the incumbent MP, Honorable Anodompe, has won the parliamentary election. The EC's collation at the Constituency Collation Center was disrupted by the NDC. The EC's arrangement to continue with the collation at the regional level in Koforidua was also disrupted by the hoodlums, compelling the EC to relocate the collation to the police training school.
Welcome to the headquarters of the Ruling Patriotic Party. Just as we did last week, today we've invited you here for a very simple but necessary exercise. That much I do. I humbly invite the General Secretary of the ruling party, the NPP, to address us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and welcome to the New Patriotic Party headquarters. If you all recall, last week, Wednesday, 11th December, we invited you to our headquarters to do a press conference and also to brief you and bring you up to speed of where we were as a party, the number of constituencies that we had won, and outstanding constituencies that we had issues, particularly the attitude of the opposition party, the NDC, obstructing coalition processes in several constituencies. Today, we have met you again to once again bring you up to speed of where we are after our press conference on Wednesday. But before we proceed to give you details of today's press conference, I also want to acknowledge the presence of some key party stalwarts who are with us here this morning. On my extreme left is Ivan Simakon, who is the Director of Research and Elections for our party. Next is Mr. Gary Simakon, Director of Legal Affairs. We also have Chairman McMenu, who was the chairperson for our electoral affairs for campaign 2024. We have the majority leader, Honorable Afinyo Makin, sitting on my right. We also have Honorable Obi Amwa, who is also part of the electoral affairs committee. Then the regional chairman of Greater Accra, Chairman Ibrahim, is also here. Our Director of Finance and Administration, Lia Yamwa. The third Vice National Chairman, Alhaji Masawu, is also here. The Youth Organizer, Salam Mustafa, is also here with us. And we also have our parliamentary candidates, some of our parliamentary candidates, affected constituencies that we will train more details in our press conference. We have Honorable Ekuye, our parliamentary candidate for Abdulkumanov, here with us also. Charles Forson, our parliamentary candidate for Tema Central, is also here. Nana Jima Prempe, our parliamentary candidate for Ahafano North. Elvis Osemen Sadapa, our parliamentary candidate for Ahafano Southwest. And Abanga Yakubu, our parliamentary candidate for Aowi. Ladies and gentlemen, the New Patriotic Party, per our tradition, has always believed in expressing our reservations and concerns through due process. And anyone who knows our history will agree with me that whenever we have issues, whenever we feel something are not going right, we don't resort to violence. We always make our case known to the Ghanaian public so that at least they will hear our side and also be informed of what is really happening. Like I indicated to you last week Wednesday when we did the press conference about how the NDC were creating chaos in various coalition centers. Afterwards, the Electoral Commission moved the coalition centers for some constituencies to the police training school at Tesano. And through to that, we were able to resolve issues in 3 constituencies, namely Sumu, Apetia, and Fantia. But the process also has come to a stalemate or standstill because, again, typical of the NDC, they didn't want the process to go on. So today, this press conference will be led by the Electoral and Legal Affairs Committee of the New Patriotic Party to give accurate and more detailed account, what we refer to further and better particulars of the outstanding constituency, so that the whole of Ghana, through your medium, will get to appreciate the issues at stake, and also to let you know that as a political party, our next line of action. And I can assure you, all the seats that are remaining, that we, the New Patriotic Party, strongly believe, based on our coalition that we won, that seat, whether today, tomorrow, next week, 1 month, what is due us will be given to the New Patriotic Party through fair means. So at this juncture, I will invite Mr. McMenu to brief us and do the press conference on behalf of the New Patriotic Party. Thank you very much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the press. The leadership of the New Patriotic Party is pleased to welcome you to the party's national secretariat for the crucial engagement and commends you for honoring our invitation at such a short notice. The essence of today's media engagement is to furnish you with the details of unfolding developments at the various coalition centers for the outstanding constituencies and the state of the party's official position on all such matters. The NPP has with great concern taken notice of the NDC's crude strategy of sending their party hoodlums to disrupt ongoing collation of parliamentary election results in constituencies that they know they have lost. The modus of operandi of these hoodlums, with the consent of the NDC leadership, is to visit the collation centers and undertake the following lawless acts: destroy all pink sheets they could lay their hands on, destroy ballot boxes and other election materials, beat up electoral officers and party representatives who challenge them, threaten the life of any person who disagrees with them, chase out members of the National Election Security Task Force and take charge of the collation process, ensure the collation is aborted when they realize that their candidate has lost, and compel the returning officers to declare NDC parliamentary candidates as winners of the parliamentary elections. These infractions have been recorded during the collation of the parliamentary election results for the following constituencies: 1. Ablekuma North, 2. Okankwe Central, 3. Tema Central, 4. Domi Kwabenya, 5. Ahafuanu North, 6. Obuasi East, 7. Ahafuanu Southwest, 8. Apatia, 9. Sukun, 10. Pantiapa North, 11. Sawam Adwaji, and lastly, but not the least, Techiman South. And our win. The question many will ask is,